Hi, I'm Sandy Petersen, and we're going to talk about one easy rule that you can use to help make your role-playing adventures scarier. This rule does have multiple parts to it though, which is why I've set it up in a separate video. Now, most game masters, when they're describing something scary, will say something along the lines of, "A green blob comes through the door." This uses one sense, sight. The players have a visual image of a green blob coming through a door. That's fine, nothing wrong with that. But we can do better to make it more vivid, stronger. Now, traditionally, we count 5 senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch. But really, there's more. For example, our sense of balance isn't really the same as our sense of touch. And our senses of heat and cold aren't the same as touch. By some measurements, we have something like 20 senses, But what I'm trying to say here is that the more senses you use, even if you stick to the traditional 5, the more senses you use, the more visceral, the more real a scene will be for the players, the better they are at imagining it. Okay, so for example, let's go to the green blob. A green blob comes to the door. This works. The players know what happens. Let's add more to it. A green blob explodes through the door. Okay, we've added a new sense, that of sound. We can hear the explosion. The players, maybe they can feel a vibration. The vision becomes more real, more imminent to the players. Okay? If you didn't want to use explodes for some reason, you could use the green blob slides through the door, the green blob hisses through the door, the green blob burbles through the door. That still uses sound, but are different effects. 2 senses are better than 1. Can we do better? Yeah, sure. Here we go. The door explodes in splinters as the green blob viscously sucks its way into the room. Now we have sight and sound and touch. Splinters for the door incorporates both sound and touch. Viscous sounds like touch. Sucks sounds like touch. We've now added a sense of touch to the player's perception of the monster, even though the monster hasn't touched them. Okay, so we can do even more if we want. The door explodes in splinters as a green blob viscously sucks its way into the room. An acrid tang fills the air. Okay, now we've actually added taste, because acrid and tang are taste words. You can feel the bitter flavor of the blob's presence. 4 senses. Let's continue. We can add temperature, as you see in our thing here. We can add smell. We've got 6 senses so far. Okay, perhaps we've gone overboard here. You don't need to have this many senses every time a thing happens. And not all senses make sense for every encounter. But the rule is, when you're doing something in your horror game and you want to describe it, it actually works for things beyond horror. But hey, let's stick to our designated target here. Use at least 3 senses. You'll usually want to have sight be one of the 3, but perhaps not always. Here's an example of a scene that doesn't use sight at all, yet is still effective. Now, because the scene as described doesn't use sight, the players will imagine for themselves up some sight, and that could be effective too. That's one of the reasons that Lovecraft often had indescribable, unnameable things, because he wanted the players the readers, not players, to imagine up something terrible. See how this description is smell, sound, and touch, but there's a clear vision of what's going on. Okay, now you could add sight to this. Say there's black-robed monks, there's a glowing sigil. But the point is, with at least 3 senses, the player is likelier to feel he is there on the scene. And 3 is the magic rule for this. It's 1 rule with 3 senses. Follow this simple trick and your games will become more frightening, the things will become more real to the players, and your games will be more fun. And that's really what this is about. We're not done yet with how to make your game scarier. Watch this channel for more in the future. Thanks.